Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. I am very excited today because we are doing part 23, I believe, of the Withering Watchpile. We're almost there on 25. That's going to be a very exciting milestone, I think. But I want to welcome back to the channel Leon, otherwise from the channel Cultflixfix24. This is going to be a really fun episode. You chose the topic. I would love to hear kind of why you chose that topic, but welcome back first of all.
All right. Hey, thanks, Christian, for having me again, man. It's always a blast to chat with you about films here, good or bad. But um, yeah, I've been watching summer horror this summer, so this fits right into the topic to go with because I had so many to watch on my watch pile. So I was like, how can I find a way to dig into them and stuff? So this is a good way to go through and revisit and some first time watches. But I'm excited too because this is one of my favorite things to do during the summertime is watch these kind of horror themed films, and they can go in different ways. I mean, you could go slasher, creature feature, you know, psychological horror. It's different. You could go different elements to it. But yeah, I'm excited. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, uh, I really thought I would be watching more summer slasher movies than I thought I would for this episode, but all of mine are very like creature heavy and supernatural heavy, which I was not expecting because I was just grabbing movies off the shelf that I was like, this kind of fits, summer. One of the movies I did, which was my second favorite, that one is technically not a summer movie, but the intro of it is. So I was like, why not? I've been wanting to rewatch it because I haven't been as engaged with it, and this time I loved it, and that's why we do this episode because it allows us to revisit and discover new fun movies. But would you like to go first with your, I guess, least favorite, number five?
Yeah, yeah, I'll go with yeah, at least to best. So the usual way. But yeah, I'm gonna start off with a slasher from the early '80s, and this is Don't Go in the Woods. It's probably more well known with that cover art,
Oh
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah, this is a low budget slasher, and it shows throughout the film. You got a lot of shaky cam and stuff like that. It's directed by brothers James Bryan and his I don't remember his other brother's name, but they're both Bryans. I could put it like that. But yeah, they directed the VSA film Hell Rider, which is available too. I don't know if it's out of print, but it's this is low budget. I mean, there's bizarre music throughout this film, weird music, but it sets the tone for the film. And I mean, this film's basically you got like these campers are going out to a mountain. They're like on a hike tour, and they're getting picked off one by one. There's a something stalking them through the woods. It's through like a POV vision, like you get through your slasher films. But yeah, it's I mean, there's a woman. You got your jokes happening. You don't know what's real. And you got jump scares coming out of the woods. Uh, Real solid kills. There's some good practical effects in this film for the budget. That was probably my favorite out of this film. Uh, there's a guy in the this annoying guy in a wheelchair was my favorite kill because he's just going on and on for no reason, just humming, and all of a sudden he just gets attacked brutally in the mountains, and that was like one of my favorite kills. But yeah, this acting's not the greatest. I'm gonna be tell you the truth, it's not put together very well. But I mean, it's a slasher film. What do you need? You don't need perfect dialogue in that. But yeah, it's really strange with this killer because he kind of reels his victims in and he hits them with rocks, which I
Hmm.
thought was real bizarre for a slasher. Before he kills them, you'll see a rock get hit to someone's head or something like that, or body. But yeah, this ain't gonna be a prize winner slasher by no means, and you can tell it's built on a budget. But hey, it's fun. I mean, it's worth a watch if you wanna. This is one of those films where you would have to get with friends and get together and just laugh at it, how bad it is, but then some entertaining parts. But overall, this is my decent film of the bunch. I'll give it a 3 out of 5. Um, go turn your brain off watching this one, basically. But yeah, that's all I got for this film. Not too much.
Cool. Yeah, that one I've always been wanting to watch because that slipcover is like so cool looking. I love the kind of yellow title on the slipcover, but I for some reason I just never picked it up because I'm not as I mean I'm a big fan of summer slashers, but I don't really go deep into like the hidden gems, I guess people would call it. Whereas like you've never heard of it, it's not on any list anyway, and it's probably released by Vinegar Syndrome. Like there are
Yeah.
very few summer slashers, and my least favorite one I have here is actually another Vinegar Syndrome summer slasher one. But the wheelchair kill sounds a little bit like Texas Chainsaw. I'm kind of wondering were there any other connections to that, like that you could see.
I'm not sure, but it's real like it. I mean, it's brutally there's a push and all that, so yeah, it could be inspired by that, but I couldn't find nothing about it saying that it was connected to that. But yeah, this film's it's good though. I'm not gonna bash the film. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a good tense moment to it, but it's one of those where it's gonna be a hit or miss watch. But
Just gotta be
yeah, I don't.
really into the mood, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Gotta be doing a summer horror episode to enjoy it.
exactly.
Do you have anything else with this film?
Uh,
Or
nah, that's all I have. You can go for yours now, man.
yeah, so my first one, my least favorite, is pretty good. Is one that you recommended me, I think, last year, and I finally got it with the slipcover, and it is 1980s Madman.
Oh,
This is a really sick slipcover, by the way. I like the original one that they had, but I much prefer this one. It's the 4K. This is what the original slipcover kind of looked like, is that theatrical poster that they have. And this movie is very much your typical summer slasher movie. We have an amazing villain who I think is called Madman Mars is his name. And he's kind of like your Jason character hanging out in a house the entire movie. Some campers come into the woods and they're like, hey, like, there's a tale around here of a man who hunts, after campers who piss him off. And we have Galen Ross, who is in this film, and she plays Fran in Dawn of the Dead. And she's pretty good in this one. Uh, there's a really cool kind of element of this movie in which it was filmed really late because they got the budget approved like the first week of September or something like that, and they really wanted it to be a summer camp movie. And the lodge that they were able to film at, it was like a resort. It was closing down for the summer, and the owners were like, "Hey, you have free reign of this entire resort island. Have fun, make your movie, whatever." We'll provide housing and food and everything for your crew, because they wanted. I mean, that was sort of a big PR kind of genius move on their part. But while they were creating this film, they got a sort of leak from a different studio that there was a summer slasher movie being made called Friday the 13th that had a very, very similar storyline going on. And so they started to rush through filming it because they wanted to be the first one. And the budget is very low for this movie, and it's pretty great otherwise. There's a really amazing campfire scene in the beginning of the film that sets up the killer, everyone singing on a guitar, just hanging around the campfire. And there's kids around too, so that's pretty notable because not many of these summer slasher movies, especially at camps, have kids actually starring in the film. And I think it's part 5 of Friday the 13th is when kids first appear at camp. And it's mostly just the counselors getting ready for camp. And in this movie, no, it's like the end of the summer camp season. And so they're going around and they're in like jackets and long clothing because it was actually like 40 degrees on set when they were filming it because they were filming in the mountains when it was snowing. So they had to pass it off as a summer movie. So technically this is a summer movie, but I think it could be like a fall movie also, late summer maybe, early fall. it's a really hazy sort of seasonal movie, but the kills are great in this one. I listened to the audio commentary while watching this movie because this is the second time I've seen it now, and it was really interesting because they were like just talking about how hard this movie was to make with the kill effects, and they were explaining exactly how they did it throughout the commentary, and then they would talk about sort of behind the scenes stuff. Like the director, when he told a friend of his who was a feminist, she was like, "Hey, like, are you going to, have your woman characters actually have a role in this story, or are they just going to be in bikinis getting killed?" Because that's what was shaping up from the 70s into the 80s. That was kind of the tropes that were going on. And the director was like, "No, I'm going to have my woman characters have, long sleeves on. They're going to be kind of integral to the plot and resolving the conflict of getting rid of Madman Mars, which is one of the coolest fucking names for a serial killer ever. I love that, the antagonist of this film, but Galen Ross is the main woman character of this film, and she is very on top of it. She's very reliable, great character. And the director was talking about how they all went to the premiere, and he sat beside his friend, and he turned to her after the film and was like, "Hey, did I, achieve my goal of not having, a lot of male gaze scenes of, all the different, sex scenes just, for the producers, to fill the quota for the, nudity scenes." And they had no nudity in this film. And his friend was like, "Yeah, you did it. You made a quite feminist horror film, which is very groundbreaking for this time." And I'm also thinking of Slumber Party Massacre. It does a very similar thing as well. But overall, I mean, this is my number 5 choice. I enjoy it for what it is. It's not my favorite summer horror movie, but I'm not going to get rid of it because that's why I rewatched it, because I wasn't sure if I even liked the film. Because the first time I watched it, I thought it was okay, and I still think it's okay, but I think it's worth having because of its connections to Friday the 13th. They came out within a week or two of each other. And Madman, of course, failed because we don't know it as well as Friday the 13th, which has 12 sequels, or 11 sequels, 12 movies total. They haven't made the 13th one yet. Still waiting on that. But, yeah, there's really not too much to talk about with this film. It's really fun. The commentary track is really interesting because they explain all of the kills and how they did it on such a shoestring budget. And it's also funny to listen to them trying to race to do the story, that Friday 13th was doing. So, yeah, there's not too much else that I have to say about that.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I mean, it's one of my favorites. Like you said, that's crazy. It was around the Friday the 13th time because you get those campfire tales on that on Friday the 13th also. So there's a lot of, I could see the competition with it. Yeah, it's good to see Galen Ross. Is she in another horror film? Because I don't think I've seen her in too many besides this one and Dawn of the Dead.
She's in like one or two others. Let me see.
Two others.
Yeah, so I just looked it up, and Galen Ross is in 3 movies only. Dawn of the Dead, obviously. Madman, obviously. And also Creepshow. I don't remember her in it. I guess I missed it because Creepshow is 4 years later, so I mean, it's around this time. So she did Dawn of the Dead, then Madman, then Creepshow, and nothing else. All the other acting credits.
She kept it horror. She kept it horror. Yeah.
And she's also in some documentaries about, like, Dawn of the Dead, and then one about U.S. history, which is pretty interesting. I guess she narrates that. But, yeah, like, she's not in many stuff, and she's great in this. And Dawn of the Dead, and Creepshow, I assume. I'll have to keep my eyes out for her in that.
And I got the 4K of that. Now I'm interested to see where she's at. I'm going to research that film when I see it.
That movie
I'm curious
is...
to see where she's at.
Yeah, that movie is like a star-studded cast of everybody George Romero has ever worked with. I mean, you have John Amplis, you have Galen Ross now, just everybody. It's kind of impressive. That and Night Riders are like the
Stephen
two.
King's actually in it, so you know it's a
Yeah,
big deal.
Stephen King's also in Night Riders, also along with his
Oh yeah.
wife. He's smoking a cigarette, I believe, and his wife is like, "Hey, like you need to stop smoking." He's like, "Ah, we don't live forever" or something. Like it's a fun little cameo. Why not?
I got to revisit that film. I haven't seen it in a long time.
Ooh, it's a great
Night
one.
Riders. I just remember the Savini pose where he's like all
You need to
trying to be the
have the
sex
audio
symbol.
commentary on. It is so fun. One of my favorite ones.
Yeah, I'm gonna start looking into that, especially on the classics, because
Yeah.
I got to see what's about those films, especially my favorite ones from that era.
Oh yeah.
But,
So
yeah.
what about your fourth film?
All
Uh,
right, so we'll get
Unless
in.
you have anything else to say about Madman.
That was it. No, I'm ready to
Yeah.
go on here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go on to this is a 2006 film, so this is one of my
Ooh.
2000s,
One of the recent
and
ones.
I hadn't seen this since I actually rented it back in the video store days like that. It's been that long, but this is Turistas from
Ooh.
2006,
I've never heard of
and
that one.
this is like this came around when you had like Hostel and all those like Eli Roth films, like those kind of vacation nightmare type of films, where it makes me not want to travel out of the U.S. after watching this. But yeah, I know this is directed by John Stockwell, man, and he's the actor on Christine, our jock actor.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he actually this is like his full directed film, but
Hmm.
he and it's pretty cool because he makes a cameo in the film too. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyways, this is like I'm gonna read straight off what I wrote down here. Well, it's travelers are in the midst of enjoying a dream vacation. They travel to the Brazil coast. After a night of partying, they wake up being robbed and left pretty much walking through this area where they're not familiar with, and passports, credit cards, all their money's taken, and they're pretty much led pretty much to this village where they're pretty much like a situation happens where they have people after him. It's very haunting, and you got the guy who pretty much leads them to their doom in a jungle. And when they're put in here, we get like a I don't want to ruin the film, but it goes into a complete like nightmare scenario while they're trapped in this jungle. But yeah, this like I said, this was one of those where you watched Hostel, those films. It was like it's foreign type film that came that style. But yeah, it's like I said, it has some intense moments. The scenes through the jungle are beautiful. It has great scenery throughout this film. Um, the only my only kind of like nitpick with this film is the body count. You don't get a high body count in this film, so it's kind of like me as a gore hound. I was disappointed and stuff, but there is some stuff that'll make you like, you know, squeamish a little bit.
Ooh.
Some scenes, but overall, this is a solid film. Uh, I got an extra. You have Olivia Wilde. Is that how you say
Oh,
her
yeah.
name? Yeah, she's in this film, and she there's a scene where she's in the water, like in a chase scene, and I guess some went wrong on that actual scene where she's actually trapped in there in that cave,
Oh,
like
wow.
water, and she's panicking because they have to go up to like these areas to breathe, like these air bubbles they have to breathe, and she couldn't find it, so she was panicking, and the crew couldn't get to her on time, so she was like actually drowning in that scene,
Oh,
and it
wow.
shows on camera when you're watching it, like where she can't find where she's because they didn't take the scene off, they kept it for like authentic purposes or something, but I don't know, it's pretty crazy that scene, but yeah, this overall this film's a blast. I mean, I put it up there with Hostel, all those. It's done with its own style, but um, this is a little gem. I recommend it if you haven't seen it. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 out of 5. This one, like I said, it would have been higher if there was more of a body count for me, personally. But I mean, it's still got its intense moments.
Yeah, it reminds me. I can't remember what the movie is called. Maybe it's Hostel, and I'm just misremembering. No, it's Hatchet. That's one of my favorite kind of people going somewhere they shouldn't. and just not,
Yeah.
seeing the red flags of like, hey, maybe we shouldn't come here. Because in that movie, they all hop on a boat and they're like, hey, we're going on a haunted cruise. And it's obviously the biggest scam ever. And they're just going into the Everglades. How you were describing it made me think of Hatchet. And that's a fun movie. There's a great scene where.
Yeah,
Hmm?
this one's like real life, like shit you wonder about. Like this could really happen to you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the more terrifying part about it.
Yeah, because in Hatchet, there's not really a big body count, but it starts off with one of the best kills ever. Because there's like an older woman who's in like a tracksuit who's complaining the entire fucking trip, and they get to the house, basically Madman Mars from Mad Men, but it's more like a Florida swamp house, and they're like hanging out there, and they're like, "Hey, see if someone's in there." And he just comes out in his first appearance, and he just grabs her by the jaws and just rips her
Oh,
entire like, and it's like actually done, not with the actress obviously, but it's like a really great effect. And that movie, like, that's probably a better alternate to what you saw, but I love the idea
yeah.
that this actor turned director, made this. I've never heard of the film before.
Yeah, I looked up the extras and I said that guy looks familiar. That name, so I looked it up. I was all Christine, man. He's in Christine. And then I remembered he pops up in this movie. He makes a cameo, and it's a goofy part but entertaining. But yeah, this film's it's good though. It's worth a watch. I mean, it's a serious film. You do get your humor, and I mean, you get some nudity in this one as well. But it's mainly about survival and intense moments, like intensity throughout this film. That's its main purpose. But yeah, that's all I got on this film.
Nice. So I can go on to my next one, and from here on out, the rest of these movies I love, all 4.5 and above out of 5. So this,
I'm the same, so
oh nice. So this is my third one, my middle one. This is a recent movie I've been watching the last 6 months. Before, well, I guess it was a part of the 2021 subscription, not 2022. Because I never did a dedicated review for this. But it is a Vinegar Syndrome release. Now I'm talking about one of my favorite recent discoveries, Ticks.
oh yeah.
I absolutely love this movie. We have Seth Green, we have Carlton from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Uh, basically, I forgot.
They call me panic. They call me panic because I don't panic. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Cheesy.
It is so cheap. I love the lines in this
Yeah.
movie. And you
Yeah.
also have Clint Howard in this movie who plays just a guy in the woods. They don't really explain who he is, but he's like developing like a crazy formula, and it like falls on some ticks and it supersizes them, and craziness runs amok. And while this is happening, while Clint Howard is creating super ticks, we have like a troubled teen group that is like, trying to get back in touch with nature and get away from the city. You have Seth Green in this film as kind of the lead. He's hilarious in this. He is constantly back talking everybody. He is honest. All of our characters kind of see the bullshit that this trip is, because the leader of this trip is dating one of the counselors who the leader's daughter is also on the trip, and she's troubled, except she's really just wants to spend time more with her father, and he's just hanging out banging the kind of the replacement for his wife, because he moved on so fast, and she's very resentful of him for that. And the entire movie is them, punching, or I guess butting heads the entire film. And Seth Green kind of falls in love with her, and they both are able to communicate, the issues together, and actually doing their own healing. And the adults are the ones causing all the issues. So it's a really interesting kind of twist on the little the trope that you see a lot of 90s movies doing, where they have a counselor, who is bringing all these troubled teens together and going off into nature. And actually, oh no, nature is as scary as the city, as the counselors keep, hopping on the entire film. And you kind of get really deep into the characterization of all of our different people in this film, from the different kids on the trip. Although they're not really kids, they're like late teens, 16 to, 19. But you also get like really interesting characters who wander in and out of the story, like Clint Howard, who comes back every 30 minutes or so in the one time. And this movie is pretty short, at like 80 something minutes. It's so fun. This is a really great summer movie. I don't know about your state, but in North Carolina, ticks are an abomination, in my opinion. I can't fucking stand them. They're everywhere in North Carolina. And this movie is such a fun summer horror movie. It's a creature feature, of course, but you get some 90s monster effects before CGI really took over in horror movies. And Seth Green is amazing in this. Everyone's great in this. Clint Howard is just really hamming it up. He's having a great time. I didn't look at any behind the scenes, but it seemed like they had a lot of fun filming it. There was no sort of bad blood or bad chemistry in this. Everyone got along great. Carlton has, I don't know what his character, I guess Panic is his character's name. He has a dog in this film, and I feel so bad for the dog. Trigger warning, but the dog dies pretty gruesomely in this movie, which I don't really like, and I'm not going to say that I docked it half a star, because I do think it has 5-star elements in it, with the characters' effects, the sound design of the ticks. I mean, it's chittering. It's really fun. I mean, it's just a really fun 90s horror movie, and there are not many of those out there. I don't really enjoy 90s horror for the most part, outside of like Scream or Ticks. There's not many out there, and it's also a big blind spot for me, so I should watch more. But this is probably one of my favorite ones. I don't have too much else to say.
Yeah, I love this film personally. This was on my wish list. Like I'd say Beastmaster, Dolly Dearest, which they released, and Ticks were all on my list there. Like of not, I wouldn't say 90s horror, because we're gonna say Beastmaster ain't horror, but I'm gonna say this is one of them that was there that I was super excited. I love this film. It was hard to find before this release. I mean, it went for crazy money out of print. You couldn't find the Blu-ray for under $100. So it's good to finally get the love it deserves. And yeah, I mean, it's the effects in this are just outstanding. And isn't Clint Howard a pot dealer on this one? He's growing pot,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, and the ticks are on there. It's just one of those fun movies. Like I used to watch cable back in the day, Cinemax, and this was the movie on after 9 o'clock, where you're just like, you turn it on and just have a blast with it. It's one of those that holds the nostalgia for me personally. But yeah, I'm glad you reviewed this one. I had it on my list at one time, but I took it off. So I'm glad I didn't pick the same one as you there. But
Yeah, I was a little nervous because you recommended this one to me. So I was like, ooh, is he going to talk about it? Because, we've never really, like, sat down and talked about the movie together. But I was like, nah, I have to do it, like, just in case. And I'm really happy we don't have a double here.
yeah, that's a good thing. But that's all I got. If you got anything else you want to say on it.
Not too much. There's a really great moment with Seth Green and the daughter and her father, and then the kind of replacement of the wife. There's a great moment where everybody's hanging out all together and they get in a big fight in front of everyone. And they're like, come on, we have to make this trip count, because it's halfway through the movie. Some of the kids have died at this point. Not kids, but the late teens. They have died. and everyone's kind of freaking out. And at one point, the daughter's like, "How about you stop fucking in the cabin and start coming out here and hanging out with us at the campfire?" And Carlton is like, "Ooh," like it's a really great moment. Every time, like this is the second time I've seen this film, and every time I see that, I'm always like, "Ooh," like damn, because in my head, he is just sitting in the cabin hanging out with this woman the entire time. She's a great character. I don't want to disparage her, but she's really kind of the source of this resentment that this daughter is feeling. And I think all of the blame should be on the husband or the father, because he's just hanging out in the cabin, just talking to her and trying to get her to just have sex with him. And they start to have sex, and something blows up at the campfire, and he gets super pissed off. And he's like, "I'm just trying to have a great time." And he's like, and she's tells him like, "Hey, this was a trip for me and you. I wanted to hang out with you, and you're just trying to bang Holly." That's her character's name, and everyone's like, "Damn!" But yeah, like I forgot to mention that moment, but it's a big like, just she just says what we've been thinking, because we're like, God, this guy just avoids hanging out with everybody except when it comes to scolding them and kind of putting the punishment on them. He's not really supporting them. He keeps trying to tell them what to do this entire trip. "Hey, let's go to the pond." We don't want to go to the pond. They go to the pond. "Oh my God, there's a body in the pond. We need to run away now." And it's just a disaster one after the other. Like, no one is having a good time with each other because there's so much tension and just trauma that is so caught up in everybody. So it's a really interesting group of characters and all the different tensions that are going on. But aside from that, I don't have too much anything else to say.
Oh, that's really interesting. They're troublesome kids, right? Weren't they like in trouble or something like that? So they're
Yeah,
trying to get
some of
away.
them were in like
Oh, something like that.
juvie. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this film. I got to revisit it now. You got me psyched to watch it again.
It's awesome.
But yeah, should I go on to the next film here?
Good to go.
Number 3 on my list here, and I got to go with Severin, of course, one of my favorite companies. I'm going to with the infamous Jaws ripoff, Jaws
Oh,
5, Cruel Jaws.
I was gonna watch that, but it's like $200.
Yeah, I went out of print, the slipcover and all of it, but there's the other art of it. But this is, I believe it's Italian film, Jaws ripoff. It's got to be Italian. Yes, it is Bruno Mattei.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay, so like the
but
king of
yeah,
the ripoffs.
the ripoffs. Yeah. So this is mid '90s, '95. Man, this could be my favorite Jaws ripoff. Honestly, and it actually uses scenes from like Jaws, The Last Shark.
Hmm.
You get from there's another one on there that it rips off. I'll have more on it, but yeah, this one, man, this is Italian style at its greatest or worst, whatever you want to call it. But this film's about, you got a rival of families. They're at odds. One's rich, one's not. So they're kind of, the rich ones are the scumbags, and they're the ones that show off and stuff like that. And it's funny because the family, the one that aren't as rich, the ones that you feel for in this film, the dad is a exact Hulk Hogan lookalike dude from wrestling. It's hilarious, and I looked it up, and he actually was a Hulk Hogan impersonator. He did
Oh.
so I was like, okay, it fits the fits the look of that, but
Bruno Mattei didn't have
yeah,
enough money to get Hulk Hogan.
so he had to go to the B movie Hulk Hogan here.
Yeah.
But it's funny because they scream through this film, tiger shark, it's gonna kill you," and it's a great white shark in every scene. There's no tiger shark, so I
So I was
don't
gonna
get.
say they have the stripes on the snout. I think tiger sharks.
And this is obviously a great white shark. It's from Jaws, all those films, but they put it together well. The scenes are put together well. Um, but pretty much it's a family. They're picking off people one by one that go in the water, don't go in the water. You got your wannabe mayor from like Jaws that just wants to make money, and everything will be all right, and people are getting mutilated and attacked in the water. But it goes to this family who's pretty much, the dad's pretty smart with animals. He has like a kind of like an exhibit with dolphins where he has them do tricks, feeds them, and he's smart in that era. And you got this other family that are at rivals, so they want to pretty much mess them up. So they're poisoning the dolphins. They're throwing like fish in there to poison, and it gets real bad towards the end there. But you got a girl I was really annoyed with. She's one of the like scientist's girlfriends, and she's switching sides constantly. She's with him, but then she goes with the bully, and I did not care for her till the ending when she redeems herself a little bit. So I was like, okay, you're not on my bad side no more. You're not a complete piece of shit or whatever you call it. But yeah, overall this film's a blast. I mean, you've seen Jaws, you'll see this, you'll know this film. But I like the kills. There's a lot off camera, but then you see some authentic, like, I don't know if sharks are actually eating something, but you see the blood where they're chomping on something, and it looks real good how they put it together. I actually copied it from other films, but man, I had a blast with this one. This is my, I think, second or third time watching it, and it's fun. This is my type of film, like that B movie badness, Italian batshit crazy type of film. But yeah, I'm gonna stick this one at a 3.5 out of 5. And if you haven't seen this one, I highly recommend it. Oh, I got some more extras. Hold on.
Ooh.
Oh, the other film was Deep Blood, where they ripped off another Severin release. But
Ooh.
I guess Shout Factory had announced this film in 2015, and it got canceled because they were trying to sue him so bad because of Jaws. They couldn't put it out
Oh.
because of, so they Shout Factory just said, fuck this, dude, we're not taking the risk. So they wiped it off their whole shelf, and then somehow Severin gets it and puts it out. I don't know how, with that slipcover that says Jaws 5 on it, which it has nothing to do with the Jaws franchise, just to let you guys know.
Yeah, they weren't supposed to do that because it got shut down like within a week of it releasing, and before they even started sending out copies, and they sent out copies anyways. So that's why it's really hard to find that Blu-ray. That's why I haven't seen it. I was going to find a copy for this episode, but they're all $200 because it's an unofficial release.
And I pre-ordered it right away once they announced the package. I didn't hesitate, but I got lucky. This was actually done from the Jaws novel, which I haven't read. Was that they said it's strong to that, but take Bruno Mattei, to take him serious is not as hard to do. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Turn off your brain and enjoy. But that's all I got on this film. You have anything you want to put in there?
I will abstain for now because I may have some more thoughts to say in regards to this. So I'll just go on to my second to last, or third to last, I'm sorry, one, which I really, really love. But
nice.
I'm kind of going back and forth now on to show this one or the other one, because this one's technically not horror. Yeah, I think that's why I had it at number 3. That technically this is not horror, this is thriller. Another Vinegar Syndrome release. I did not mean to do 4 out of 5 of my films from Vinegar Syndrome, but that's where I have most of it. If not, John Carpenter, summer movies. But this is one that's still in print that not many people have gotten. And it's really fucking good. It takes place in North Carolina. And it's called The Grave. And this is from 1986 or 1996. It's one of those years. 1995, I'm sorry. So a year before I was born. So this movie is basically Shawshank, where we follow a group of prisoners at a kind of rock-busting railroad building area where they're breaking those stones with their hammers. And they're having to grow crops, just really heavy labor, and basically being used as slaves. And one of them starts talking about how there's a legend of treasure that a millionaire has hidden and buried somewhere in the county. in North Carolina. And I didn't check to see if it's a real county, but I've never heard of it. And I'm a geographer. I'm a professional geographer in North Carolina, and I haven't heard of it, so I don't think it's a real county. And if it is, it's very, very small. But so they hear about this treasure, and they 2 or 3 of them decide to work together to try and find this treasure, basically. And you slowly get the story of this millionaire who buried the treasure, and it ends up as a whole big conspiracy that is going on. And a lot more people have been looking for this treasure for all these years, and nobody has found it. So these prisoners start going on sort of a thriller, like Bonnie and Clyde type of adventure, where they're going to all these different places, trying to find hints, trying to find people who may know about it, trying to find friends of their own that they haven't talked to in years because they've been in prison. And they slowly but surely start to find the treasure. And also, one of my favorite actors is in this film, Keith David. He plays a priest that a narrator is talking to the entire runtime, because the framing of the story is that it all takes place in the past. Keith David is listening to an unnamed prisoner tell this story. And we don't know who this prisoner is. And even at the end of the movie, we don't know who this is. But Keith David is listening to this prisoner kind of give his confessions and just anything he wants to say before he's executed. And he's like, hey, and he has a very awesome gravelly voice. Keith David and the prisoner. So they're going back and forth talking to each other the entire movie while we're watching the movie. And they're like, yeah, the prisoners then went to the house of the buddy, and there was a conflict that went on. And then you get to see the scene begin, and you watch the conflict go on, and then the next scene starts with him narrating what's going to happen next. And that's the entire movie. It's like a folk tale, and I really, really enjoy that. And Keith David isn't in it much, but you hear his voice a lot, and he provides so much, like, just fun to the story. It gives you a really folktale feeling, like you're watching like a legend on screen, you know, because you are having a treasure hunt in this movie, which doesn't happen often in reality, and you're seeing them kind of take this Odyssey-like journey, Odyssey by Homer, the thousands of years old myth about Odysseus and, you know, all him trying to get back home, is a very similar framing of the story and structure. And so this is just awesome from beginning to end. We have so many great actors in this film. We have it's sort of like the seedy version of Shawshank Redemption, where they have kind of the promised treasure that they're trying to get to by the end of the film. But in this one, it's like everyone sucks. You don't have Tim Robbins, you don't have Morgan Freeman. Everyone's just an asshole and a jerk, and people just get killed off left and right in this movie. And it's a thrilling movie. It's definitely a summer movie. They're sweating their asses off in North Carolina. North Carolina is consistently in the 90s and even 100 degrees here. And we have humidity, too, because we're by the ocean. Most of our land at one point was a swamp until we were able to control the wetlands and kind of drive down the mosquito population. But this movie takes place in the 40s, I believe, maybe the 50s. So this is a really fun movie. I really, really enjoy it. And I want to thank a friend of mine for recommending it to me, Josh. He has been proselytizing this film for about a year now and got a bunch of us into it. And I'm continuing that tradition because I think more people should watch it. Last I checked, the slipcover was still in print. And I got it last year, so on the Black Friday sale. So I'm shocked It's still in print. So if you can get it, get it. Although it's the really fucking annoying bottom feed. This is the theatrical poster, but...
Yeah, those bug me, man.
It drives me crazy. I'd rather have what Tix has, which is the side-by-side cover. I guess you're seeing the back of
Yeah.
it, but yeah, I much prefer that casing style than what is on this one. But yeah, there's not much else to say. I really hope if you haven't seen it already that you see it soon, because it's fucking good.
I have seen it.
Oh,
I have
good,
seen it,
yeah.
and I really liked it. Everything you said is on point. I mean, this is a jam, I think, and I like the cast. You have what's his name, Craig Shefford from
Mm-hmm.
Nightbreed. Is he in it too?
Yeah, he's great in it.
Yeah, it's a great cast. Yeah, Keith David, you can't go wrong. Anything with Keith David is gold, man. It's just yeah. This is one I had never seen till I got it, and I was blown away by it. So it's been a while since I seen it, probably since it first came out. So you're talking about it, I'm kind of like remembering stuff as you're saying it, and then but so I love the setting, how you said like in that North Carolina setting, and it fits the film perfect. And it Shawshank Redemption is one of the top films of all time, so it's a great one to compare it to because I do see that in it. And yeah, this one I like how you said how it's like kind of like a fantasy tale. They're saying it through a story. That always intrigues me too. And who better than Keith David? I mean I can't think of anybody else to talk it besides maybe Morgan Freeman.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah, I do have this edition. I did get it, so that's good to know. I have the slipcover especially if it's out of print. So
Yeah.
yeah, but
One thing I should mention also is that the music is amazing in this. I'm not I'm not well versed in bluegrass or country. It's never struck me, but I love listening to it when it's in a movie, and it's the music is used so fucking well in this story. It complements what is going on screen, because some of the songs they're talking about, hey, they're playing the banjo and they're talking about running away from the law, and on screen you're seeing our characters running away from the law. Like, it's really fun. I love how they do the music in this film as well. But there's not too much else aside from that. But the music is just fantastic. I really enjoy it.
yeah, I agree with you on everything you said. This is a gem that people need to check out more or watch. I feel it doesn't get the attention it needs.
Agreed. How about your number two then?
Okay, let's
Second
go
to
to
last.
second to the last here.
See if we have a double here.
Right. Oh, well, hopefully not. But this is one that I hadn't seen probably since again it first came out. It's a revisit. First time I watched it, I just said it's all right. This second time around, it really got to it was better, a lot better. So I'm gonna go with 2002's Cabin Fever.
Ooh. I have a complicated history with that one.
Yeah. Uh-oh. This is one I did too. I like I said, I really didn't care for it the first time I seen it, but it grew on me now at this watch. Um, so this is pretty much your this is all pretty much your ultimate summer movie. I wouldn't even say ultimate; it's just right on there. This is a Eli Roth film, which I mean he could go. I'm a fan of Eli Roth, but people go different directions with it. But yeah, this is five college graduates that rent a cabin in the woods. They go out there to party. You got your jokes, your bullied. I wouldn't. I guess kind of at odds with each other. There's a lot of fighting, and you get hillbillies around the area. You got a kid that will bite you. He's like not. He's not. He's not mentally stable, but
Bananas!
yeah, he's a he'll. I mean, he'll take a chunk out of you if you get near him. But yeah, we got a good cast. We have the guy from I forgot his name, but he's from Boy Meets World, one of the shows I grew up
Oh,
watching.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like our main character, and it's cool because they shows them pulling up to this store where these hillbillies are, and it's playing the David Hess song from Last House on the Left,
Oh, really?
and
I didn't even know that.
yeah, and I right away caught that. I was like, wow, that's awesome because I'm a big fan of that movie, and of course, like Eli Roth, he's a fan of the old films. He brings that to his newer ones. He'll throw like little Easter eggs within films from. That's why I like Eli Roth. He respects that the the classics and he puts it throughout his horror films. And yeah, this is kind of like how would I say it? Plague, not plague, like flesh eating virus type film, where I mean, you're doomed throughout this film from the beginning. Hey, there's no hope through this film, right? You right away get that dread, and you're like, how are they going to get away from this? This is something that it's not going to miss you. If eventually it's going to catch one of you guys, and we got like this creepy guy in the woods who actually falls in the water and contaminates their drinking water. So, I mean, they're pretty much fucked right there. They have to drink water, even though there's a guy on there that says he's going to drink beer the whole weekend.
And he's the one that survives.
Yeah, he's the one that goes the longest through this film, so it's pretty hilarious. But it's funny because you get Eli Roth on the cameo in this one too, and he shows up as a stoner with weed, and he's just like talking there. He's pretty much trying to take this guy's girl away right in front of him, and it's working. And you see like the jealousy type thing. The guy pretty much tells him, okay, you can leave, get the fuck out of here. He doesn't want him near his girlfriend or whatever, and he's like, but I'll be back. And he shows the weed again. You're just like, oh man, it's hilarious to see stuff like that. But this film's real gross out effects throughout this. I love the effects. There's a scene with a girl where half her face is mutilated, just rotting, and I just love that scene. That stayed in my head afterwards, after watching this movie. And overall, this, like, I don't know, this film was just a blast to revisit. Like I say, like, what can I say? I'm not gonna say golden era, but it's that hardcore era of 2000 horror films where they're just putting them out left and right. You'd see one you like, one that was crap, whatever. But this one, it really grew on me. I like the color scheme. You get like a red screen that goes throughout this, and it just fits the film, like what's going on with it and all that stuff. But okay, the actor's Ryder Strong from Boy Meets World. I got it here.
Ah, okay.
I got an interesting fact with him. He was filming in this film, and throughout sets, he took a break. He wanted to go for a walk because they're like in the nature, and he didn't realize like the popularity he has. So he pulled up to an event where these girls are camping out, like a choir or something. They're out camping, and he ran up to them, and they just all started chasing him. So he's running. They're like, "Boy Meets World." There's it, all the girls that had crushes on him. So he's running back, and they're just chasing him. He had to go hide and stay low key because they were still looking for him. And it's funny because on the scene he's covered in blood. So like when he first went up to the girls, they were screaming like terrified. They thought like there was a murder scene going on, but it was him in character. And then they're all, "Oh, it's him from Boy Meets World." So they start chasing him. So he's running with blood all over him, trying to get away from these choir girls. So
that's like a comedy movie hilarious. Moment.
Yeah. He's like, not even the blood could keep them away from me. So he's like making a joke about it. But yeah, overall, this film, man, I absolutely loved it. It's grown up. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. And it's just what I look for in films. I mean, gore. I mean, the intense moment. Oh, and you got killer hillbillies in this movie, too. Chasing them through the woods.
Just like in Ticks.
Real bloody shootouts in this one, too, man. I mean, there's some heads getting exploded by shotguns. It's really good on the effects. But yeah, I enjoyed this a lot more. And the first time I watched it, I was like, ah. But now I learned to appreciate it as it's aged. But yeah, man, this took me by surprise, and I'm glad I revisited it.
Nice. Well,
that's all I got on that.
Oh, I'm happy to start talking about my history with this movie. I've always loved this movie for many, many years. I first found out about it when it was filmed because I think it was 2006, 2007, maybe 2004 at the earliest. But there's a Boy Scout camp that I went to called Camp Ravenob that I went to for about 4 years, maybe 5 years, from the age of 11 to 15. And they have the cabin. They built the cabin at this Boy Scout camp as a way to get kind of like tax money or something to save money on the budget. And so they built this cabin like full size that is in the movie, just for the movie. And then afterwards they were like, yeah, we're not going to tear this down. We'll just keep it. We'll just keep it as a fun little, I guess, whatever they call it. Like an artifact that, movie people can go to and see. And I've actually gone to that house at camp. And,
oh, wow.
it's really cool to walk around there. And so that's where I kind of learned about the movie for the first time, is that I went to the cabin first and then saw the movie once I left camp at the end of the week. Because I was like, because every instructor there who has seen a movie was into cult films. They're always like, hey, have any of y'all heard of Cabin Fever? And most likely everyone says no, because, you know, we're all 11, 12 years old. And the instructors would be like, yeah, this movie called Cabin Fever, it's been filmed here at camp property. Let's all go to the house, you know, after class, you know, whatever. And so we would go there and go hang out, you know, for, you know, 10 to 15 minutes. And it was like, okay, this is cool. But then when I saw the movie, I was like, oh my God. And so I always loved it for that. And I appreciate Eli Roth, but I don't like him personally. I really appreciate his movie knowledge because he's a big fan of it. I love listening to his interviews, although he's very, I guess, sort of sophomoric. I don't think his humor is that well. It's not that good. Definitely hasn't aged well. There's a lot of jokes in this movie that just doesn't. It hasn't aged well, is what I'm trying to say. And there's moments in the commentary track because this is a movie I watched every year for October, for Spooktober. Oh. And I think I did one review, and I may have said exactly the same things I'm saying now, but the commentary track is not fun to listen to because they're just kind of hanging back, you know, doing what I usually enjoy hearing directors do, which is just shooting the shit, having fun, talking to the other actors, whoever else is recording. And Eli Roth just really comes off as mean in the movie, where he's talking about fans who have come up and they're like, hey, we don't like how you did, you know, this character. You know, it just seems very stereotypical how you did this. And instead of, you know, introspecting and listening to them, he just makes fun of them. And he says some really terrible stuff about people, calls people the F word, and I'm not talking about fucker. I'm talking about the other one. He calls people that on the commentary track. You know, ever since I listened to the commentary track, I was like, you know, I've been watching this movie every year for the last decade. Like, I think I'm done with this movie. I got, you know, because I had it on DVD. Yeah, because I had it on DVD, and I got mileage out of that. I paid like $2 for the DVD when it came out. I guess after when I went to camp, and I was just watching it every year because I was like, I've been there. Like, this is so cool. And I really love the flesh-eating bacteria part of it as well. I am still cringing every time I think about it, but there's that scene where she is shaving her legs, and the skin is coming off. And she goes to bed, and Boy Meets World wants to have sex with his girlfriend, who is literally melting. Her flesh is coming off from this disease. And he's like, hey, like, let's get sexy. And he starts honestly raping her because she's not awake. She's asleep. She's not consenting to this. She's actually about to die because he starts touching her. And, you know, he's getting into it, and then he's done, and he pulls his hand out, and it's bloody. And this entire time, he's been fingering her, and her skin and flesh has been falling off her body. And they show it all, and it's really fucking disgusting. And that's the scene that always haunts my dreams. But, I mean, the characters are really shitty also. Nobody, like, is respectful to each other. I think that's a very common 2000s horror trope. I don't know where it came from, but
especially that cop guy.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's with underage girls and high school girls, and who knows his age, and
and he's like, I'm bringing the beer, and it's like, ugh, like I hate that. Like, get that away from me. But that's sort of what I meant by my complicated history, because I loved this movie for years, but as I started to watch the interviews, commentary tracks, I was like, I just don't like this Eli Roth guy. I appreciate how much he cares about the horror genre, because he does a lot of sort of advocacy for cult films on Shudder TV, on the streaming service. He's done many documentaries about horror films. So he definitely has been a positive impact on the horror genre. and he's definitely helped a lot of people kind of enter the genre with Cabin Fever, Hostel, any other films he's done, and I appreciate him for that. But it's, I don't want to bring the mood down, but that movie is really fucked up in terms of the effects. It is so terrifying. I mean, they actually brought in a police dog to do the aggressive dog who is, with this disease.
Yeah?
They brought in the behind the scenes footage of that is insanity, because they're like, hey, like the cops are sitting there with like a leash around his neck, and they're like, all right, we're about to let go, so when you say, shoot, we'll let go, and the actor has to run away from this police dog. And what they actually did is that they got a stunt person in like this basically bear suit to run away from the dog, so we get the footage of the dog, and they basically just set the camera on the ground and left it alone, because nobody could be around, no human could be around this dog, because it was trained to attack people. And so they got a hold of this dog, and the police were like, yeah, just tell us what you need to do.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. The behind the scenes of it, where everyone's behind like a locked door with like a little window, because Eli Roth is sitting there with like a camcorder, and it's so like, you see that dog just, in a flash, just catch up, and he starts going after this stunt double. And, thankfully they're in like I think they said like a Tempur-Pedic, like big, like, I don't know, blanket that like nothing, like no knives could go through, teeth, nothing. So yeah, it's really interesting you chose this movie. I had no idea. I completely forgot its existence.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it since like its first release. Like,
Oh, wow.
I completely forgot everything about it. So it was like a brand new watch to me, kind of. So, but yeah, that's cool. The actual cabin, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's like one of the few things that like, one of the few like movie things I've done. Like, I want to go see Monroeville Mall. I want to go see, the Psycho House, all that. But like, I accidentally saw this place like in the middle of class one day. Like, I was just lucky.
Is it nice? It looks nice in the movie.
Yeah. It's just like a normal cabin. I mean, people do camp there and live there at times. But now it's, like for the summer, some adults would go up there and like sleep there or something. But I don't know if it's like available off season or not. But I wouldn't mind going back there someday. But I mean, it's going to have to take a lot for me to get up there just for that. But unless I have friends going for camp, But staff members. But yeah, I mean.
Yeah, this is a real gross out film. Stayed in my mind afterwards, honestly. But that dog was terrifying, so I can imagine behind the scenes. Yeah. That's all I have on this film. You have any? I'm glad you had more insight on it, because I didn't really have that much besides watching it. So,
yeah,
that's good to hear, like all the extra stuff about it.
Oh yeah, and this is like I watched those years ago when I first watched the movie, because I was like, I don't believe them that this cabin was, made here for the movie. And then they actually talk about it in the behind the scenes, so I was like, okay, like I did actually visit a real movie location. That's cool. But I can start on my second movie if you'd like.
Go for it.
So this is a movie that I've watched a few times, and I just could not get into it, except this time. I absolutely love this movie. It's from 1981, directed by Gary Sherman, written by Dan O'Bannon of Alien and Return of the Living Dead fame. Technically not a summer movie, although the opening scene takes place on a beach in the summer. They just do a time skip after that. So technically, also the box art has like a beach, so that's why I chose it. I'm talking about Dead and Buried. This is the Blue Underground release. I love this movie now. I don't want to spoil it, but it's the best on-screen use of gaslighting that I've ever seen in a movie. Because our main character, I guess to make a comparison, it's very Wicker Man like, of somebody showing up to this town, weird shit is going on, and nobody is believing the main guy. And he is trying to investigate what is going on. Everybody keeps giving him false leads. People keep gaslighting him into thinking like he's crazy. His wife is involved, and we don't know what her role is. She's gaslighting him, but also we see her being gaslighted. So we have no idea what the fuck is going on through the majority of this runtime, and the kills in this film are absolutely crazy. We get somebody who, in the beginning of the film at the beach scene, we have a girlfriend and boyfriend hanging out, making out on the beach. Starts right off the bat with, summer vibes. So, I was really set up for summer, but it's mostly a fall movie. But the end of that scene is a group of people with cameras showing up, taking pictures of them. They're like, hey, what are you doing, you perverts? Get away from us. And then all of those people start killing this couple, and we cut away. And we don't know what the fuck just happened. We don't know why that happened. What are the cameras for? It's just really, really bizarre. But it does take place at a coastal town. So, but we never see the beach after the original kind of entry scene of the film. But Robert Englund is in this film as a fisherman. I was gonna say fireman, but he's a fisherman, and he doesn't do as much as I thought he would because his name is on the front of the cover. I think. I guess not. The one time I checked, but he's pretty good in this one. Post, I guess during Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me see what year this is. Well, the Blu-ray is from 2009. I don't know when the movie was made. 1981. Okay, thankfully I wrote it down.
Yeah, I knew it was early 80s. I just couldn't get the year.
Yeah.
I couldn't get the year on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is pre-Nightmare on Elm Street. So that's pretty impressive that he's in this. So I guess it's post Eaten Alive also by Tobe Hooper. So he's playing a lot of kind of the same characters at this time. He plays a very similar character in Eaten Alive as a alligator wrangler for the killer crocodile owning family that runs the motel in that movie. But this movie is pretty awesome, but it's really hard to talk about without spoilers because, my God, the last 30 minutes of this movie, I wish, not George Kennedy, but is it George Kennedy from Exorcist 3?
I know George Kennedy's probably Creepshow, right? Creepshow 2? Or no?
Yes. That is George Kennedy. Wait. It's George something. But
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I wish he was the one.
From the Changeling, right?
Yeah, his name.
He's in that. Let me look it up. It's George C. Scott.
Yeah, George C. Scott.
George C. Scott. Yeah,
I would love to see him be the lead in this film. I think he would have made it a 5 out of 5. I have it at 4.5 out of 5. It's fucking amazing. I loved it. But the main lead in this movie is great, but there's a few scenes where as he discovers the truth of what is going on, he starts like losing his mind and he has to act, crazy. And it doesn't really work as well. It kind of fell apart for me with his performance at the end. But everything else in this movie is perfect. I really, really enjoyed this one. I'm shocked there has not been a new recent upgrade to this because this Blu-ray is from 2009. So it's 14 years old. So unless they did another version, like a 4K, I don't know. Oh, they did do a 4K. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I guess.
Blue Underground.
I need to get that. Damn. I never even know that. Damn. But
there's like different slipcovers too. There's like 3 different ones. I got this one. It's lenticular. Look.
Ooh. And I have this really old Blu-ray. I actually got it in a trade. So because I wasn't sure about getting the 4K because Blue Underground 4Ks do not go below $30. So I wanted
Yeah,
to make sure
it's
I liked the
pricey.
movie first. But yeah, do you have anything you want to say about this one? It's really hard to talk
I
about without spoilers.
absolutely love this film. I've seen it. Um, I haven't seen atmosphere this good on this film since like The Fog, bro. Like from
Oh yeah,
Carpenter, I think they have that kind of gritty atmosphere where you're unsettled through the whole film. I mean, it's I just love the twist in this movie too. I'm not gonna give nothing away, but it's
it's really hard.
yeah, it's a great film. One of my favorite films of all time, honestly. So there's another film that I um Messiah of Evil. If you
Oh
ever
yeah,
come across that film, watch that one. That has that kind of atmosphere like The Fog or Dead and Buried. It's a slow burn, but man, it has creepy atmosphere throughout it.
and that's the
But
1970s one, right?
yeah,
Oh, Radiance Films is putting that out in a big
yes.
fucking edition. I can't
Oh,
wait for that. That'll be my first time
I'm
watching it.
pre-ordering that in a heartbeat, man. I That movie is so creepy. You're never set like you're unsettled through that whole film. But I heard people say it's slow, and I get that because it is very slow. But when it shit hits the fan, oh man, it's really creepy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah,
But
what's funny about this movie is that this is my third time watching it in like 6 months. The first two times I saw it, I just kept falling asleep and waking up at the end of the movie. I was getting so mad at myself because I was like, oh my god, everybody loves this movie. Why do I keep falling asleep? And finally, this time I watched it at like 2 p.m., like, middle of the day on a weekend, and I really, really enjoyed it. Had all the lights off.
yeah,
I think it was raining outside, so I had that extra atmosphere from like the diegetic sounds around me.
oh yeah,
But oh my gosh,
best
like,
time to watch it.
yeah. But I don't have too much else about this movie if we want to go on.
Okay, I
Number
just gotta say I love
one.
that film. So
Oh yeah.
so okay, going to my favorite film out of the bunch here. So this was a first time watch for me.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is from Synapse Films. It's Creature from Black Lake.
Oh, that's a new release, right?
Yeah, new release. This is a Bigfoot movie, Sasquatch, whatever you want to call it. Man, I went into this film just thinking I'm not gonna like it for some reason, and it exceeded expectations. I'm just gonna say that a lot, but yeah, this one's your '70s, mid '70s kind of grindhouse type of horror film, and man, it right away starts off with like these guys on a boat fishing in the swamp, and they start hearing these noises, and they're like, "Is it the boat?" You hear taps, and no, it's probably something in the water. One of those animals, whatever. So they get off to the side, and then they hear like their branches crushing, and like something's in there, and they freak out. They're like two old guys, they're older guys, and they're like, "Let's get out of here. We never heard nothing like this. We've been fishing back here." And by the time they get on there, it's too late, man. They're attacked by a creature in the water, and one's missing. They never find him again, and his friend becomes like kind of the crazy guy in the town. He tells everyone, but they make fun of him, and then he kind of becomes a drunk. So he's kind of like the laugh of the town. No one believes him. So you got these two college students who are going to the town. They want to film it. They want to do a documentary on it and study it, whatever. And everyone's like brushing them off. Even the sheriff's like, "Get out of here! You're meddling in the wrong spot. You don't want to be here." There's a secret being hidden. You could tell, but they stay curious. And I mean, this duel is very good. You have a young guy. Yeah, I forgot his name. Dennis Fimple. He's the side character, and he's the pops on House of a Thousand Corpses. He's that old pops in the family.
Oh, nice.
So, oh yeah, but he's young, and yeah, man, he's so good in this film. Him and that guy, they just have like a good chemistry, and they're the college students. But this is mixed with like comedic uh, and horror. But, yeah, as they do this research, they start to get deeper and deeper into it, and they go to areas where they shouldn't be. And I mean, it's creepy. Obviously, the creature has aged because you could see it's obviously a suit, but it's I like the atmosphere in this one, and it's I had heard of a copy on DVD. I never got it, but someone told me that it was so bad you couldn't even tell like what was going on.
Oh
This
wow.
transfer is crisp clear, man. I'm telling you. There's it could even fault the film because you see how dated it looks and stuff. But this is that '70s like film, like you watch Jaws, you watch Grizzly. This is like the Bigfoot of that. I think it's just so entertaining. It could get slow at times, but then it picks up when it has to. But the ending, man, I'm gonna tell you, the ending is just so good, my style. But I guess like I was saying, this was only released in a DVD multi pack, and it was under the title Night of the Howling Beast.
Hmm.
And I guess that transfer is shit, what I heard. But yeah, it's this was a jam. This was my favorite film. I liked it, and it's got that odyssey you get from the '70s. It's like that bizarreness, like they can't do nowadays anymore. It's just that '70s craziness or whatever. But I thought the two leads in this film were excellent. They had good chemistry. You feel for them. You like hear their brotherhood. They fight. They're cool, but no matter what, they're always there for each other. And that's what I liked about the characters. It's real. Towards the end, there's like a heartfelt moment too, where you're like, you care about the characters, and that's rare nowadays. But man, this film was a blast. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5, and highly. This is one of my favorite '70s creature features. I put it there with, I won't say with Jaws because Jaws is like the best film from that era, but it's got to be in that top 5 with those films. But yeah, this is the Synapse version. It has a pretty cool slip. You can see there.
Ooh. Oh, I love the
And,
hand.
yeah, that's the original, probably that on the DVD. Yeah,
I see the Sasquatch
but
shape.
yeah, it's that '70s era. You gotta watch it. You like those type of films. Excuse me. But that's all I got on that film. If you want to throw anything in on there.
Yeah, that's one release I've been interested in because I keep accidentally watching Sasquatch horror movies. I mean, Suburban Sasquatch. We have the recent one from Vinegar Syndrome. I can't remember the name of. Tomb of the Mutilated. I think no. Something of the Mutilated. Tomb of the Mutilated is Cannibal Corpse. That's one
Yeah,
of their albums. But
it's not a Boggy Creek.
no, it's not
No,
Boggy.
no.
I almost said Bobby Creek.
I can't even say that either myself.
Boggy. But
Boggy.
yeah, it's one that I've always been interested in, and that's release I've seen before, but I forgot that it was even here. But I'm happy they did such a great restoration. I mean,
Oh, the
every movie
transfer
deserves
is
it, no matter
nice.
how bad.
Because I've heard people say it. Even I think it was on Tubi, and they said that the transfer's so bad. It's like it's all grainy and real
Hmm.
blurry, but this one's crisp. They did an excellent job restoring it.
Yeah, because Synapse is a company that does like one movie like every 2 months or something,
Yeah,
and
they're
they
rare.
they do like so much time on restoration. And I've heard that the Lucio Fulci, no, not Lucio Fulci, I guess Dario Argento movies, Phenomena, they worked with Era Video for that release, and I've heard that was an insane restoration. I still need to get that release. I keep forgetting to, but I have
Yeah,
the standard Blue Underground one, so, or the Synapse one. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's what this movies I've always been interested in, but haven't pulled the trigger yet because I don't want to spend $30 on the 4K because that's Synapse prices. So,
okay. Wait for a sale. They have sales that go on.
oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This is one of the better Bigfoot movies, in my opinion, that I've seen. I've seen a lot, and
hmm,
this one's in the top of them.
nice. So I got my final one, and this is one that I think a lot of people unfairly judge. This is one of my favorite Jaws ripoff movies, and this is co-produced with Troma, by the way. This is one of my favorite
Wow.
movies. It's one I recently discovered, and every time I watch it, and especially double featuring it with Jaws, this movie is masterful how it adapts it. Because from what I've heard, they adapted the original screenplay of Jaws to make this film. And I keep hesitating, but this film is from 1989, directed by Thomas R. Wandanella. I hope I said that right. Wandanella. I don't know, but it is Blades. This is one of my
Oh,
favorite Jaws ripoff films of all time. If you don't know what it is, it's about a lawnmower, a big fucking lawnmower that gets possessed by an evil spirit and then begins to kill people on the golf course. And oh my god, it is a 1-to-1 adaptation of Jaws. Every fucking scene that you know from Jaws has been adapted into a golf course setting. And I absolutely love it. I love the main characters. The sleazy mayor of the town is not the mayor of the town. He's the golf course owner. And he's trying to host a Masters golf tournament. And he keeps pulling in people to do this tournament, and people are getting killed one by one, and they're like, what's out there? There's a serial killer out there, and half the movie is them looking for a guy, arresting somebody, and then somebody gets killed again, so obviously they have the wrong guy. They don't even have the lawnmower, because it's a demon-possessed lawnmower that is going after rich, snooty golfers. And this movie is just so perfect. I mean, this is one of my favorite just fun movies to watch. It's really short. It's an hour and a half. You get every scene from Jaws. So not only do you get to re-experience the story and mastery that Steven Spielberg made, but you also get to see the fun Troma version of this. And everyone loves Tromeo and Juliet, and I love it as well, but this is my favorite adaptation that Troma has ever done. I mean, they went the main force behind it. It wasn't, directed by Michael Hertz or Lloyd Kaufman, but they produced it. They had a part in it, and they really helped it. I don't know how much they helped, but I invited a friend over to watch this with me because he's a big Jaws fan. He has read the book. He loves the movie. And I was like, hey, man, we just need to see one of my favorite adaptations. And he asked about it, and I was like, here's all you need to know. It's Jaws, but instead of a shark, you have a demon-possessed lawnmower. And he was sold, and we watched it, and he loved it. And he said it's up there with the original Jaws. I mean, I love this movie. We have every character, instead of, oh gosh, what's his name? Instead of, I can't remember his name, but the main actor from Jaws, we have exactly the same character doing like a imitation.
was he Brody?
Yeah, Brody.
Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
He plays Brody, and we have the Brody character. We have the love interest, which is actually sort of the... He's kind of the... this woman character is the kind of up-and-coming golf owner of this golf course, and she wants to be the number one kind of leader and wants to help everybody enjoy playing golf. And she is constantly being undermined by the owner because she's a woman, and he's giving our male character, who's just some guy from out of town who used to be like the pro in golf, and he fucked up because he started being an alcoholic. And it's really funny because this woman is kind of the glasses-wearing guy from Jaws, but the love interest. So, like, that's the biggest change from Jaws, but it's so perfectly done because it's not really a love interest, but it's more of a rivalry that they have going on. And because she's really mad at him because he just walks into town and takes this position as the lead caddy or whatever she wants to be, lead custodian of the golf course. And he just walks into town, gets it, and the owner is constantly undermining her, not believing her about anything. And they actually have to start working together because they know that this lawnmower is out there. And we have a really amazing character that is sort of the antithesis of the guy who was shipwrecked or whatever on the USS Yorktown or whatever ship, and the sharks are going around, and he's telling that story in the cabin when it's like dark outside. We have that exact scene, but in a golf cart, and they're trapped in the middle of the greenway because the lawnmower is tracking them around. And it is absolutely hilarious. I absolutely love this movie. This is one of my favorite, just fun. I don't want to call it a creature feature, but it's basically a creature feature. And oh my god, I implore everybody to watch this. This is one of the funnest movies I've ever seen. I could go on all day about this, but I will not.
Yeah, I have it. I've seen it too. I loved it. Loved the movie, but it's been a while. I think I got to revisit it because I forgot a lot about it.
Double feature with Jaws. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun. I've done it.
I just remember a guy in a van, like a Quint character. He's in a van or something.
Yeah.
He's like over the top, but hilarious.
He's
at the
like,
same time.
he picks up the mowed up grass at one point, and he lifts it up, and the guy's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "This is diesel." He's like, "It's here. I know it's here." This movie is so fucking ridiculous. I love it. Oh my god.
I remember laughing at it. I remember that. So yeah. Oh, Trauma. You can't go wrong with Trauma, man. I love a lot of Trauma films.
Oh
And
yeah.
for some reason, Vinegar Syndrome's been releasing them. Like, I wouldn't say a lot, but they release quite a good amount of them.
Can we have Killer Condom now, please? After 7 years of me fucking asking.
I don't know if you've seen a Bloodhook one that they released.
I have not. I've been meaning to. Is it good?
That one's a blast. It's a slasher with the killers with a fishing rod and a hook.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
because I passed by that slipcover so many times. I'm like, I don't know. I've never read about it either, but
you gotta watch it.
I need to get it. That sounds like my jam.
Similar to Blades, but not like a slasher version.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I always like Trauma, man. For the good or bad, they're always awesome.
Oh yeah.
I want to get what is it? It's coming out in 4K now. The whole collection, Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping Vinegar Syndrome would do that, but I mean that's Trauma's big title. They got to make all that money back.
Yeah.
Because they spend a lot of money making movies. So.
Could you imagine that, like in the kind of like Roadhouse type of edition, or what's the other one? Thriller. Put in one of those boxes. Toxic Avenger.
I would put in sort of like
awesome.
the Forgotten Jolly. Just have it all 4 movies and like that big.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh my god.
That's even better.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I've seen this film, but I forgot it. I gotta revisit it. Like I remember parts about it, but I know I was laughing through the whole movie. I got a remembrance of that, but
well, cool.
Yeah, that's a awesome choice to close it out there.
Yeah, that's been a great episode. We're right there at an hour and a half, so this is really great timing we made.
Nice.
So thank you everybody for watching, and for if you're still here, please make sure you subscribe to both of our channels. I'll make sure to leave a link to Cultflixfix's YouTube channel and also Instagram. That way you can go follow him because he posts a lot of great haul videos as well and does exclusive content on there as well. So definitely check that out. The next episode of the Withering Watchpile will be Criterion Collection, because I did that sale back in February, I think, and I haven't seen a single one, so I need to actually watch them. So,
all right, thanks, Christian, for having me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to the Criterion because I have some from the sale I haven't watched either. So, anxious to get into those as well. Thank you guys for watching too. Appreciate it.